Photoshop has some immensely powerful retouching tools. There is the spot healing brush, the healing brush, and the patch tool. And I'll move away so you can see all three. I used a combination of tools to edit these three images. For this model, I used mostly the patch tool to do skin retouching, to remove a bit of dark circles and to give you that flawless look on the skin. In this shot, I had cables running through the bottom, and I used the spot healing brush tool to clean that up. But for this house photo, I had to use a combination of all three. I used the spot healing brush in parts, the healing brush in other parts, and then patch where appropriate. So let's take a look at the function of each. I'll close the finished result, and I'm going to start with the statue. So I will choose Window, Arrange, and Consolidate All. And if I zoom in on this statue, wiping out these cables is actually a very easy task. Now before I jump in, I should point out that I used Shift-Tab to hide my panels on the right, and I'm going to leave them hidden to give myself more room. Shift-Tab again will tuck them out of the way, and Shift-Tab would bring them back. But if I look at the Spot Healing Brush tool, I could simply click and drag to wipe out this cable. I have to zoom in with Command plus or Control plus or View Zoom in to be very careful about cleaning up near her foot, and I'll actually dial the brush size down. There we go. But here is one of my favorite power user tools that doesn't just work on the spot healing brush, it works on any tool that uses a brush. I want to remove the rest of this, so I'll make my brush a little bit bigger. When using spot healing, you really want it larger than the area you're trying to clean up or remove. So I will click once, hold down Shift, and click again. And if Photoshop played Connect the Dots, I'll do it one more time. Click once, Shift-click. That's really all it took. I do see a small halo here on the statue where it removed that cable. So I could actually drag straight down, and Photoshop even repairs high contrast edges with a spot healing brush. The reason I don't use that tool every time is because Photoshop picks what area to use to do the repair. I'm going to try it on this light pole that's peeking in, so I'll just do a quick paint and let go, and it's gone. And if I lean to the side a bit, I may notice a little bit of darkness, but you could do it again and again. And it blends every time. Now let's take a look when the spot healing brush tool might not be the best tool for the job. If I zoom into this model with Command plus or Control plus, and I paint underneath her eye to remove that dark circle, some people just have deeper set eyes, and depending on the lighting, it can cast shadows underneath that. So she probably looks young and fresh in person, and that's really what I want to convey in this photo. So if I drag across, it actually sampled some of her eyelashes. I could see a little bit of detail, but the Spot Healing Brush tool attempts to contrast adjust and perfectly balance to the area you're fixing. I'm going to undo that, and my absolute favorite tool for skin repair and actually removing objects if there aren't any high contrast edges nearby is the Patch tool. With the Patch tool, I can make a selection underneath the eye, trying not to hit high contrast edges, so I'm not touching her eyelashes. I let go, I get in the selected area, and I drag to solid skin. And when I let go, those circles are just wiped away. And you can keep doing that, and it will keep blending every time you do it. So that's how I repaired her whole face. Now sometimes this will look a little too worked on, so I may want to bring back some of the original detail or see if tones that are below the eye were created by my repair or were there to begin with. So the History Brush tool will paint back the original, And I'm going to hit my right bracket key next to the letter P to make the brush bigger and just paint back all of the original. There we go. But I liked my repair, so I'll undo that. And what I want to do is bring back a subtle amount. And by painting back the original, I did see this little mark and a bit below her eyelashes were in the original shot. So I'll hit the number 2 for 20% opacity, and I will click and drag to bring back 20% of the original, click and drag to bring back 40%. It's up to you whether you want to bring back any at all. You can leave it completely flawless, because actually that's what they do in most of the magazines. But I wanted to show you if you go too far, or if you're curious whether you messed up the image or made it better, try the history brush at 100% to bring back the original, or to bring back subtle amounts. Now you could do the rest of the repair on the statue image. I'll hit Command 0 or Control 0 or View Fit on Screen to see the whole thing. And on the model, so I use Spot Healing Brush on most of this, Patch on most of this. On this house, as I zoom in with Command plus or Control plus, I'll start with the easiest, the Spot Healing Brush, and I'll simply paint straight across the image. I don't try to take out everything in one shot because I want to see how it's doing as I go. And I lost a little of the building, the trim here, and I lost some of the shadow. But I'm going to let it go and scroll up a bit and keep painting this out, stopping before I hit the flower box. And it actually did pretty good at the bottom of the flower box on my first try, so I won't try to repair that further because I know the healing brush tool may do a better job. So I'm going to skip this part of the flower box and see how the spot healing brush tool does. Straight through the window. Oh, yeah, it didn't do great. So I'm going to undo this. And you may notice that if you go to a smaller brush, it does a different comparison. It actually did great right inside the window, but I will need to work on the trim. I'll keep going. And this is when I need a different tool. But I'm going to finish off by doing my click, zooming out with Command minus, and using my shift click trick. And if it missed any area, I'll go up to a larger brush size, click, shift click. Perfectly gone. Now let's tackle the inside of the house. So to make this perfect or near perfect, I'm going to use the third, the healing brush tool. And I do find this the most difficult to teach because I always say in class, you have to watch 2 birdies at once. The way the healing brush tool works is I can use flowers to fix flowers, use the flowers to hide the cable. So I can hold down Option on the Mac or Alt on Windows and click once, let go, and the flowers are moving over, and click and drag down, and it did a repair. I could do it again on the bottom of the flower box, Option click or Alt click, click and drag, and it repaired that. And if it's out of alignment, just watch the line as you drag to make sure it's lined up before you do your first click. So I Option clicked or Alt clicked and dragged again, and that actually looks quite good. But I'd still find the patch tool faster. With the patch tool, I could try to do a repair down here where the shadow's running into the other portion. I could select the bad, let go, and as I drag down, I'm using something that also has shadow and trying to line it up and letting go. I'd still have to blend here, but that's when the history brush may really help me. It's back at 100%, and I'll use a tiny history brush because if the cable wasn't in that part of the image, it'll bring back above and below, but sadly it was there. So I'll need to undo a little bit of that, and I can patch out just this portion. So you can keep blending and keep patching until you end up with something you like. If you don't like it, just step backward and try a different tool. I could go back to my spot healing brush tool. I try really with these 3 tools never to waste too much time on one tool alone, because a combination of them is often needed. So Option-click or Alt-click, move down, keep it lined up, click and drag down. Let go, click and drag down. I got out of alignment on the last drag, so I'll Option-click or Alt-click, move down, try to keep it in alignment, click and drag down. And then I can start using my history brush to blend if I find spots where there wasn't cable. And I'm getting really close on that one. So Option-click with the healing brush, Option-click here, repair there. Option-click here, repair there. So your mission is to clean up any areas that still need work using a combination of these three tools: the spot healing brush, the healing brush, and the patch. And when you feel like you're making it worse and not better, use the history brush to bring part of it back and try your repair again. Practice with these three images should really make a difference in your skills with these three image repairing tools.